I'm Crackshot. Welcome to another episode of Crackshot Chronicles. Today's episode, what is the difference between a single action pistol and a double action pistol? Well, today I have three examples of revolvers. One is a single action, the other one is a single and double action, and the other one is a double action only. Now the guns in question today, this one here, the black one, it is the Ruger Single 6. It is chambered in .22 long rifle. Right now it has the .22 Magnum cylinder in it. This particular gun is an example of a single action pistol. The next one is the Taurus Tracker in .44 Magnum. This is an example of a double or single action. And finally we have the Ruger SP101 in double action only, chambered in .357 Magnum. Okay, now, starting with the single action. Basically, in a nutshell, all a single action means is that the trigger mechanism and hammer mechanism has only one function, and that is to drop the hammer. To fire this particular gun, first you have to load it. By loading it, you open up the loading gate just like here. See this little loading gate? You open that up. You set it to half cock, and then you put a bullet in here, rotate it to the next chamber, put another bullet in there, rotate it to the next chamber, put another bullet in there until you have all 6 chambers loaded. Once they are all loaded, you close the loading gate, you cock the hammer, and by pulling the trigger and slowly letting the hammer down, now you have the hammer down on a live round, and you have 6 shots. Now on this particular model, Ruger came out with a recall that actually inserted a transfer bar in between the trigger and the firing pin, so that when you pull the trigger, it falls on this transfer bar right here instead of falling on the actual firing pin. This prevents it from firing when it's dropped. Now let's get to the single action part. To fire this gun, you hold the gun firmly in your hand like this, and you take the thumb and you cock the hammer. Now once the hammer is cocked, all it needs is a slight trigger pull and the gun goes off. To fire it again, you release the pressure on the trigger, pull the hammer all the way back, and fire. By doing this motion, you can keep firing until all 6 shots are fired. Basically what it does is, once you cock the hammer, the trigger and hammer relationship only has one feature, one function, one purpose, and that is to drop the hammer. So therefore, that's why this gun gets the name single action, because the trigger does only one action, and that's drop the hammer to fire the round. Now, to unload this gun once done, you just open the loading gate, put it at half cock, and on here you have this little button here that you can slide back and forth once you line up the cylinder, and it pushes out the ejection rod right here, and that once that ejection rod comes out, it shoves out the next round. Then you just rotate it to the next one and repeat the process until all your chambers are empty. And once you have all 6 chambers empty, then you can put them back in with fresh rounds, close it, cock it, and you're ready to fire again. This is a single action revolver. Now a single double action revolver, or some people put double single action revolver, what it does is, let's go ahead and do a safety check so you can see there's nothing in the gun. What it does is, this particular gun can fire either 44 specials if you want a weak load that's just for practicing or self-defense against human beings, or if you want a powerful load that's good for, 4-legged predators, and then you load it with 44 magnums. Now what this does is you have 2 ways of firing this. The easiest, most common way is to fire it in double action. With double action is you put the finger on the trigger and you pull. As you see, as I pull the trigger, the hammer goes to the rear, and then it finally drops when I take up all the slack on the trigger. I'll do it again. That is a double action trigger pull, because the trigger does two jobs. It cocks the hammer and fires it. Cocks and fires. Cocks and fires. That makes it a double action. To reload it, once all 5 shots on this gun are shot, because this is a 5-shot revolver, you push this little button forward right here, open up the cylinder and push down, and the rounds come out. You load it up with a speed loader with 5 more rounds, close the cylinder, and you're ready to fire. That's double action. Now you could also fire in single action. How you fire in single action is you cock it manually and fire. By doing it this way, I'm firing in single action mode. This gives me a more precise shot, but it takes longer to shoot rapid successions. It's much faster to do it double action than it is to do it in single action. So this is double action, this is single action. Now, the last gun here is the Ruger SP-101, chambered in .357 Magnum or .38 Special. Now, opens up pretty much the same way. There's a little button here on the back. You push that little button with your thumb, push out the cylinder, tap on the ejection rod, and it takes out the bullets, or you just push it. And once the bullets are empty, you either use a speed loader to reload it or individually load each chamber, close the cylinder, lock it in place, and it's ready to fire. Now the way this gun fires, it's a double action only, because the trigger pulls when you pull the trigger, it cocks the hammer. As you can see, the hammer is going back. Farther I pull the trigger, the farther it goes. Then finally, the last bit, it fires. You can see this is a double action only. And it does double action only because there's nothing for you to grab onto. There's no hammer to pull back with the thumb. And you can't even go halfway and then pull it the rest of the way. Oh, it's just hard and it bites. It will, as you can see, it puts a nice little dent on my finger. This is not an easy thing to do. So double action only, you cannot cock it. You have to use the trigger. Of course, I locked it up. Use the trigger to fire. So this is a double action only, where this one here is a double or single action. And then, of course, the last one is single action only. So that's the difference between a single action, a double single action, or a double action only. Remember, any gun that allows you to cock it first will give you a much more precise shot, because you don't have to pull the sights off target trying to cock it. It's already cocked. All you have to do is that last little bit of the trigger pull, as you can see right there, and it fires. That's all it takes. You see the hammer and the trigger, and I pull it back, the trigger goes back, and that last little bit, it's all it fires. So it becomes a more precise shot. Same thing when I do it with this gun. If I pull it, you see the hammer, the trigger goes back when I pull the hammer, and all I gotta do is pull the trigger that little bit. In double action, I have to pull all that distance, where in single action, just that little bit of distance, which makes it a more precise shot. Double action only, not set up that way. You have to pull the trigger the whole way every single time, which makes it a less than precise shot. Still, with practice, you could be extremely precise. This is a defensive gun for close quarters only, so it really doesn't make a difference if you're not, surgically precise, because you're going to be close enough that you're not going to miss the vital organs anyway. So, to recap what we have here on these 3 different guns, the Ruger Single 6 is a single action only. The Taurus Tracker is a single action double action, and the Ruger Security 6 is a double action only. Now they do manufacture the Ruger SP-101. I called this something else, didn't I? My mistake. The Ruger SP-101 does come available with a hammer so that you can shoot single action if you choose to, as well as double action. This particular option, I chose not to purchase it that way. This one comes with double action only. So now you know the difference between a single action, a single double action, and a double action only pistol. If you like this video, please hit subscribe so you can get more like it. Also, don't be afraid to share and comment. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Thank you so very much for watching Crackshot Chronicles. Have a good day. Rewind it and watch it again. And don't forget to hit subscribe.